Guys, are we a baseball or a basketball podcast? Or are we just a Cubs podcast now?
I believe this is Cubs podcast. Am I on the wrong podcast here?
Well, it looks like, based on numbers, it's 2 versus 1. Brian's actually wearing the right jersey, and we are clearly not.
Yeah, we're a little out of place here.
So, I don't know if I should be taking this off. However, you guys will see my wife beater. So I don't know if this.
Keep the jersey on, please.
Appropriate
for all of our sakes.
You don't want to see my hairy arms?
As delightful as that may sound, I'm going to pass.
Well, shout out to Marcus Stroman for getting a shout out. A lot of y'all may not know, but Marcus Stroman is one of my favorite baseball players ever since on the Blue Jays.
Stroman's the dude.
Stroman is good. He also, fun fact, favorited one of our writers' tweets.
True.
Which is
Mr.
cool.
Plummer.
Trey Plummer. He was a former guest on Cut the Nets several episodes ago, but hopefully when he's not busy, he'll be back. All right, welcome everybody.
Welcome guys to Cut the Net.
Welcome guys to Cut the Nets.
That's low-key a hot take, but I agree with it.
I don't care, Barbara. If he can't throw a football, get him
Barbara.
In a bad way, but they're playing like nitty gritty. Like
Brian, hit the gym more. Look at that.
This guy.
Yeah. No, I'll play Like, I'm saying that Jalen Brunson will play really well in the playoffs.
Oh, then yeah, I did misunderstand you.
Yeah, you misunderstood me. In his veins. You guys haven't been relevant since Cam Newton.
We're basketball podcasters. We're not Met Gala attendees, dude.
You know what's great, though? The fact that Brian is over you. He's literally over you and literally looking down on you.
Was that necessary? Really? Do you feel better
so
after having said that, Jeremy? Like, oh my God, we got embarrassed enough. Okay, I'll take the hat off. I'm sorry. My bad, guys. Here, I got a Vegas hat here. I'll put this one on. Always a great time at Cut the Nets, fellas.
Anyway, this is Cut the Nets, episode 24. This is the Paul George when he was on the Pacers episode. Get it? Hey.
I was wondering about who 24 was going to be because I was like,
Yeah, you know what? Every episode from here on out, until we get to the 100th one, which we'll probably celebrate and throw champagne glasses everywhere, and I'll probably trip acid.
Sweet.
What? Sorry, I spoke too much. I said way too much.
I was like, I need to keep a straight face here. I couldn't do it.
Yeah. We have, of course, my co-host Brian. How
Oh,
are you doing,
damn,
Brian?
Brian's roasting you in the comments.
I'm doing pretty good. Excited to talk.
Did you shut up? Shut the fuck up. You said 27 is going to be the Rockets' consecutive missed threes episode. Have you not seen how they were defending James Harden and fouling his fucking tail off?
Where?
Where?
Yeah, Jeremy got triggered there.
Okay. Well, I can't think of anything right now for episode 24 about me bashing the Knicks. Oh, the Knicks, 24. They won 2 games. The Heat won 4 games. They lost 4-2 in the
Rockets
semifinals.
1-0. The Rockets 1-0.
Yeah, but they're in rebuilding mode. They got an Ime Udoka and the 4th pick, which is kind of a rigged thing. It's very rigged. They
Cool.
should.
You've been rebuilding since that 27 threes.
No, we haven't. We've been rebuilding. Okay, I'm not gonna even say anything. All right, I'm not gonna because when I say something, it'll look like I'm affected, and I'm actually like, sad about this shit. I'm cool. We'll let this pass. Let's talk about what's going on right now. But before we do that, make sure you like and subscribe this podcast. We are doing this every single Tuesday night. We record Monday, but we release every single Tuesday night. Don't miss it. Also, check out our other podcast show, Great Game. I got one coming up this week. And yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. For the one of the three of us who is wearing an actual basketball jersey, the beautiful Miami Vice Heat jersey. Brian, what jersey number is that, by the way?
It is number 14, Tyler Hero.
Tyler Hero. That's great.
Yeah.
Tyler Hero, who is not going to be making an appearance in the NBA playoffs because the Celtics are going to make history. They're going to make history. I'm declaring that right now. The fact that the Heat have lost 3 straight games, and after every loss, Butler has been adamant that they will win the next game. Game 7 is going to be in the TD Garden, in Boston's home floor. And the only game that the Heat needed to win was Game 6. But due to a string of events in 0.1 of a second, Boston season is still alive. Thanks to the inbounder, the best inbounder in the league. I'm not sure if that's actually a fact, but it's Derek White. Receding hairline, Derek White. But actually good player. But actually good player. No thanks to Cody Zeller. But yeah, let's get to let's get to Game 6 box score. I've talked way too much.
It's okay, Jeremy. We still love you.
Do you though?
Yeah. And like a brotherly way.
Brian's being awfully silent right now.
Yeah, he's got something up his sleeve. I know it.
Yeah, Rob's right.
By the way, happy Memorial Day. We are taping on Monday, so
True, guys.
happy Memorial Day.
Happy Memorial Day.
Yeah. And tonight is Game 7, unfortunately, because Miami could not stop the Boston's last play with 3 seconds left on the clock. And that's what led to this score. Rigged. How is it rigged? The ball happened to fall into Derek White's hands. You can rig gravity if you want to.
No, I have no problem with that. It's the time on the clock that I have the problem with.
We'll get to that later. Let's get into the box scores here. So Butler had probably one of his worst games in his playoff career. And he made some sort of redemption down the stretch, but it still didn't suffice. If he scored one of these other shots, if he went 6 for 20, then the Heat would have been winners. We would have been talking about the NBA Finals recap or preview of the Nuggets and Heat. But every possession, every shot counts, especially in this game. Did Boston almost lose this game, or did the Heat? Were the Heat supposed to win this game?
I mean, I think 100% the Heat were supposed to win this game, considering how well throughout the playoffs they defended home court. This was supposed to be that game, because Game 5 was when Gabe Vincent got hurt, so you kind of, and without Hero, so you kind of knew the Heat were going to lose that game. That was also in Boston. Game 6 was kind of supposed to be, this is the Heat's game. Series is over. Obviously, that didn't happen, and I think a large part of it is to Jeremy, what you said about Jimmy Butler's struggles, going 5 for 21 from the field. But I also think you need to put some blame on Bam. Bam has been an anchor throughout the whole playoffs for the Heat. He's been that perfect sidekick to Jimmy Butler, a very underrated X factor. And the fact that he went 4 for 16 from the field, but for just 11 points, I think was kind of faulted them there. And then I also think from a defensive standpoint, Max Strus is minus 12 when usually he's been one of the better defenders on that team. I think that was also a part of it, because Jason Tatum didn't even do that well offensively too. So
you also got to mention the fact that Duncan Robinson missed 2 wide open threes. Wide open threes. Do you remember that possession where it was a 50-50 ball, and then a Heat player finally got it and passed it out to the wing, and then Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum didn't even close out on Robinson, and Robinson did a little double take. He saw the rim, knew he was open, and it felt like I could definitely see him this guy's gonna miss this shot. He's taking way too much time to even attempt to take the shot. He dribbled it once and then finally took it. The way he shot that ball felt like it was way off the angle. It just didn't seem like he was set. That shot should have been a shoo-in, because he's been great this season, or this series particularly with the 3-ball. Even though he did go 3 for 6, he should have been 5 for 6, or at least 4 for 6 from deep, and missed that wide open 3. And it really just made this game a lot closer than it should have been. Even though the Heat were down by 10 points in the fourth quarter. But, of course, they make a comeback, because that's how they've been throughout this whole playoff postseason. But, again, they have to go back to Boston and take Game 7. Rob, I want to talk about the last play. The inbound pass of Derek White to Marcus Smart. Did Marcus Smart actually try to make the shot in order to make his team have more time to see if they could rebound it and then put back the shot in?
That would be rather optimistic, I think. Excuse me. I don't think Marcus Smart is that calculated. I think he tried to make that shot, and honestly, it was poor shot selection. It was poor execution on their end. Yeah, and I agree, Brian. There was no attempt to try to like draw a foul, to draw contact. It was just, I wouldn't use the word miraculous because I think that gets used and flung around a little bit too often, and that might be a little hyperbolic for the situation. But Celtics got lucky. I mean, and they've got the luck of the Irish on their side because that should not have happened. And there probably shouldn't have been that much time left on the clock, and we can jump down that rabbit hole with Brian here soon. But I do not like. It was just very lucky. He got that off with a tenth of a second left, basically, or 0.2 of a second left. It was just very, very fortunate that he can kind of get the ball off. I watched that like last minute of that game and was just like, oh man, the Heat have got it. They're gonna put him down and just
Butler took him. He took him to the finish line, but they couldn't follow through. Yeah, let's watch this last play here. We'll get to the change of the clock from 2.1 to 3 seconds after this play, but let's rewatch this real quick. So yeah, you got White on the ball, passing to Smart, closed out beautifully by the Heat. Knew that wasn't going to go in, but then Strus, he gets casual.
Yep.
Casual on the on box outs. Didn't even realize that the Derek White was slithering right behind him.
That's the only thing about the Heat that, in this instance, right? I mean, they play typically small, but in this instance, they needed someone down there to box out and just be ready for that. And it just, it seemed like a lot of the concentration was around where the ball was, and we didn't see enough of those guys collapse again at the paint to just prevent anything, any putbacks, anything from happening. Just overall, I mean, the Heat played a great game here and had it, and they just dropped the ball.
You had Vincent just like not even making an effort to see if he could box out or try to see if he can get the rebound. He's already celebrating.
Yeah.
But you got to celebrate right when it hits 0. There's a lot of game time left in 0.3 seconds. I mean, Derek Fisher, that famous buzzer beater against the Spurs 20 years ago.
I remember that.
That was 0.4 seconds on the clock.
Yep.
You got to keep on playing until the shot clock hits. Funny story. When I was actually playing basketball in elementary school, in my Catholic school, we didn't really take tryouts. So if you signed up, you were on the team.
Nice.
We weren't good. We were not good. I was on the bench. They only played the players who played well on the starting lineup. But hey, I played some. I played some.
Got the rotation.
What I did know is that our coach always said, make sure you box out the inbounder on any possession. Do not let the inbounder get free, because as soon as the inbounder passes the ball to the guy that's open, he's going to try to get free.
Yeah, that's basic fundamental basketball right there.
But yeah, the Heat failed to do probably one of the most obvious rules in the game of basketball that a coach should always say to his players. Always make sure the inbounder is boxed out. No matter how tall they are, no matter how lanky or what their vertical is. You can be 7'5" and can't get the rebound because you're not alert. You're not aware of what's going on.
Very true.
Derek White, what is he? 6'5", 6'4"?
Yeah, at best.
He was there and tipped the ball in when it mattered.
Yeah, he's 6'4". I just wanted it more.
Yeah.
I mean, and that from watching that play again, there was two things I noticed. One, the fact that as soon as the pass was made, White just sprints out and comes underneath. And I'd put him in simply he caught Struz sleeping and then was able to get that rebound. But two, I'm not blaming this too much on him. Because at the end of the day, it was Struz's guy that scored the game-winning or game-losing basket for that matter. But another thing too is I don't understand why Bam Adebayo had such a high box out when there was no one even really there. Because if he just simply boxed out lower, White wouldn't even been in the position. I mean, there's a lot that could have happened. Obviously, it's more on Max Struz, but
I think he was trying to make sure Tatum and Brown weren't getting the rebound either. I think he was trying to make sure that wouldn't happen. Because you got to guard. You got to guard the 2 stars in Boston. You have to.
At the end of the day, it's a team effort, and that last, and you saw Jimmy Butler in the huddle there where he's going like one time, and that's he was ready for it, and I just feel like the rest of his team was not. Like they had to lock it down for one play, and they were in the NBA Finals, and they just squandered that. So now they got to play a whole game, and this one's gonna be a dogfight, down at the very end.
And like back to Rob's last point too, like Smart was 100% either trying to draw a foul or make the shot. Because when he went up, he like pump faked, and then like his arms like spazzed out. Like he was definitely trying to like draw contact.
Yeah. Speaking of Smart, this is his first time in his NBA career that he's had 20 points in 2 straight playoff games. So if the Celtics have Marcus Smart clicking, scoring at least 20 points, they got a pretty decent chance to win.
That's tough, man.
Yeah, because you can always, well, I wouldn't say always, but for the most part, you can rely on Tatum and Brown, getting at least 20 points. But you can't rely on Horford. You can't rely on Grant Williams. You can't rely on Derek White, even though he made that nice little putback. But you can always rely on the defensive player of the year, Marcus Smart, when it comes to defense. But if he gets 20 points, Boston's surely going to have a good chance to win. I think this is the Heat's last-ditch effort, which was Game 6. I've seen a lot of Game 7s as to where a lot of teams had a really good chance to close out the series or at least make it a series in the previous game. And when they just miss it, I'm not saying the Heat of the Rockets. By no means, they are the James Harden-led Rockets. But the game when the Rockets played the Spurs and they were without Kawhi and without Parker, this was Game 5 of the semifinals Western Conference in 2017. If the Rockets won, they would have taken a 3-2 series lead heading to Houston. Really good chance to win, close out the series, and probably face the Warriors with Kevin Durant being his first year there. I wouldn't expect the Rockets to win against the Warriors because they were a super team, but they had a really good chance to win, to beat the Spurs in the semifinals. Harden gets blocked by Manu Ginobili in the last possession, and it really felt like the Rockets' signs of life was gone. And it was. Game 6, Harden went 2 for 11, didn't show up at all. The Rockets scored like under 80 points against the Kawhi-less Spurs. So, I think the Heat pretty much have their season's over.
I think though all those points, Jeremy, are historically valid, and I would say in most instances I would agree with that. I think though, and we can, if I'm right about this, we can make a little clip about it, and I'm going to look awesome, or if not, I'm going to look like a fool, and that's okay. I'll live and die on this. I
want to look like a fool. I want to be wrong.
We're going to see a Jimmy Butler game. We're going to see Jimmy Butler. He's going to drop 40 or 50 tonight. He's going to just go bananas because this is it. Backs against the wall, no holds barred. Like, he's going to go at it with everything that he's got, and he's going to try to drag these guys to the finals again. And I think it might get crazy tonight. I do. It's going to be tough for the Heat to go into Boston and win this game. That's a hostile crowd, and they're going to be hyped up and ready. But I would not be surprised if Mr. Jimmy Butler showed up tonight and dropped a 50-piece.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with Rob. I mean, it's also interesting to note that this is the first time since somewhere in the 90s that the same two teams are going up against each other in Game 7 consecutive years, because this time last year they were in a Game 7 together, the Heat and the Celtics, the conference final. So kind of get that same thing again. And I mean, I almost wonder, because the Heat, like, you saw how disappointed they were last year with Butler's post-game interview, Bam Adebayo ripping his jersey. I almost wonder if that Game 6 loss was on purpose, because they know how Boston made them feel, and they want to do that to them on Game 7 tonight. So I 100% could see Butler going for a 50 piece. I think it's gonna be a great game either way. Both got a lot to prove. One thing that I am mad about is that the two arguably worst refs in basketball are officiating this game tonight, and Tony Brothers and Scott Foster.
Hey,
And then
at least the guy with the burner account isn't reffing.
That's true. And I saw the Celtics are 12-0 with Scott Foster officiating, and then the Heat are 0-12 against the spread with Foster officiating.
That's
so
rough.
scripts leaked. But
Might be.
They want a high market team to be in the NBA Finals. They got the Nuggets, so they got a half-ass one. Brian, let's bring up the controversy of the time clock change.
Yeah, Zach is screaming in the comments. I do want to.
you want me to do it?
Yeah, let's bring it up because I did see whenever Butler got fouled, it was 2.1 seconds on the clock, and then they changed it to 3.
Yeah, so I was actually at a family party, so I didn't watch the whole game. And then it's actually ironic enough, I put it on as that happened, and they made it 2.1 seconds. Then they reviewed it, put it to 3, and then my thing was, where did the 0.9 seconds come from? Like, I think they should have put 2.8 from what I was hearing and seeing, like from seeing the replay. And that 2.8 doesn't allow Derek White to get that off. I mean, listen, I'm not blaming the officiating crew or the scorekeepers or whoever you could blame on that. At the end of the day, Max Strus needs to know, not let Derek White get that out.
Okay. All right. Should we let Zach in? He's pretty hot right now.
We need to let Mr. Morgan in here.
Yeah, let Zach cook.
Okay. Let him cook.
All right, Zach, let's cook.
Go.
Hi. Go.
TikTok moment right now.
That's
Just say it from your heart.
Okay, I thought that was
Say it from your heart.
Okay, so no. The official clock that the refs have is not the game clock that is shown on TV. That is the key difference here. So the idea that the production clock was off by a little bit, it shouldn't be foreign to anyone. This is honestly... There's an issue on the production side. The clock didn't match. They had to reset it. You wait until there is a stoppage to fix said thing. It is not... And you know what? It goes from 2.8 to 2.9. They had to get the official thing. There is a communication issue. Honestly, I'd be shocked if it is anything more than the TV clock was not synced up properly with the game clock. There is no conspiracy here. You guys are going crazy. By you guys, I mean everyone in the NBA.
Okay. Anything to add, guys, from that?
I respect Zach's passion.
Okay, I respect it too.
It's
I
vigor.
feel better now.
Can is there a possible way to get like the picture or like the still of the exact time that Butler got fouled by Horford?
Is it
possible?
Was that where the 3 seconds?
It was from my understanding. Like, of course, yeah. You say the ref clock is different than the TV clock, right? But it was 2.1 seconds
Official
left,
clock, yeah.
right when the ref stopped the clock when Butler was fouled. And also, let me add that Butler was fouled beautifully.
Butler was fouled at 2.8. Yeah, right here.
Yeah.
So this is the still. I'm just going.
Yeah, but those 0.2 seconds matter.
That's what I'm saying. That's not the official clock. That's not the official clock. That's the TV clock. It doesn't matter no matter how you guys slice it, the clock that you're seeing, as you can see, fouled clearly, the TV clock shows 2.8. So the idea that the TV clock did not stop in time by 0.2 seconds is not crazy. We're humans in the production team. These things happen.
Would you also say the refs are human too?
Yes.
Yeah, you probably should. Yeah, because they make really ill-advised calls.
I'm being recorded on a podcast. Yes, refs are people, and refs deserve rights. And I swear I didn't once say on
You
a
sound
podcast.
you sound hella right now, honestly. I deserve my rights.
Refs are people, and I respect that.
Gotcha. All right. Well,
I feel better.
anything else to add about this this TV production / ref clock difficulty?
I just want to instigate Brian to go down the rabbit hole. Do it.
You can do it if you want. We love conspiracies here. We accept them.
If it was, I mean, I'm just saying that clearly, evidence speaks for itself. Zach even said humans make mistakes. A human made a fucking mistake. It was 2.8 seconds. The Heat should have won. They could have enjoyed their nice little flight to Denver that was apparently already booked.
They are booking their flight right now.
I'm sick and tired of all this human makes mistakes bullshit. You know what? I'm switching to another sport here. The MLB did it. Umps suck. They do robot umps in the minor leagues. There's stuff. Listen, I think that takes away the human element. But you know what? I'm sick and tired of the umpires and refs and just officiating, costing teams the game. You saw with the NFL with the replacement refs, the NBA. Listen, the Heat were screwed, but it's okay. They're gonna win Game 7 tonight. I do think though, as a Yankee fan, I'm pissed off at A-Rod and Jeter because I think they're the reason why. Ever since they were there at the 3-0 in Boston.
Yeah, they cursed it. They made Boston have bloody shoes. Have that bloody shoes.
Unfortunately, there might be... Listen, as much as I want the Heat to win, as much as I think Jimmy Butler will still go off, I think the Yankees get some company, unfortunately, and blowing a 3-0 lead.
This is making me think of the meme from Always Sunny in Philadelphia where Charlie's pointing at all of the papers.
Yeah, no, this is the
board,
second,
and that's how I'm seeing Zach's face too. And I'm
here. I've got it.
Like connect the dots, Brian. Connect them. It's the reptilians.
The meme for me is basically Zach Galifianakis in The Hangover doing those math formulas in Vegas is how the Heat will win. I swear. Like, I believe you guys that Butler will go off, but I feel like Bam's going to do another costly possession turnover, or Strus is going to get sleepy on the defensive end, or I don't know. Where's Kevin Love in this? He's injured, right? Did he get injured? I believe so. I think he got injured in like Game 3. I want to say.
No, he's playing. He played 12 minutes in Game 4 and in Game.
All right, well, I'm a fool then. I'm a definite
No.
fool.
He didn't play last night. I'm sorry.
I thought I read something that he got injured or something in this series. It was like an off-court injury, or I don't even know. I love whenever Brown was like, "Don't let us take one." That was like when they were down by 3-0. That was very cool. Very, very cool. Also, don't let us take one. Don't let us take two. And then boom. Yeah.
And then the Heat responded by Gabe Vincent playing Ed Sheeran after the loss in Game 6.
Did he really?
Yeah, I forgot the name of the song he played.
Was it Shape of You?
Jimmy Butler must have started enjoying the Nickelback. So
I like Butler's music taste. He plays some very interesting songs.
I just love how petty he is about certain things. I saw over the past week a short on YouTube where he's talking about how when everyone had those Beats headphones and people would wear them around their neck and just play their music as loud as possible so everyone could hear it. He got so fed up with that practice that he got a pair of Beats and did exactly that, but he looked up the most country of country songs that he could find, and he started playing it around, and people were like, "Yo, you can't do this," and he was like, "Well, I these are my headphones. I got to play my music."
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, so
and then
he loves country.
Yeah, and then
now he
fell in love with country.
Now he likes Morgan Wallen.
Yeah, he's a country boy.
Yeah.
But it was the song he played was called "Life Goes On," about Gabe Vincent. He walked over to his locker, 10 or 15. So the exact quote is, "The disbelief in that room was palpable. That was one of the quietest locker rooms I've ever been in after a game. Now you have to understand, Jimmy Butler usually has that speaker bumping in that room, win or lose. It was silent, and after about 10 or 15 minutes, Gabe Vincent walks over to his locker, and he gets to play on his phone, and he plays "Life Goes On" by Ed Sheeran. And certainly, that's the mantra the Heat want to have going into Game 7 tonight.
I disagree.
Seems too passive to me.
Playing Ed Sheeran, no.
They're not playing Ed Sheeran before Game 7. It's after Game 6, which did happen. I understand that's before Game 7, but we don't know that that's the vibe in the locker room pregame. We don't know that. If that's the vibe in the locker room pregame,
Right now, we don't know. We don't know right now exactly. What are they playing right now? The pregame is supposed to be right now. Maybe they're probably doing shoot around, but I don't know. I would have loved playing like, Remember the Name. Yeah, I probably would have had that song on the pregame. I would have loved that.
Fort Minor.
Yeah,
classic.
Yeah, Remember the Name. 80% luck, 20% skill. Yeah,
15% concentrated power or will.
Oh, the will. Yeah, let's love it.
I would have gone with more of a 80s workout song like Eye of the Tiger. It's kind of my personality.
I would have leaned into the for the Heat sake. I think you lean into the Ed Sheeran vibe a little bit, but go a bit more just pop. So probably just do
Shape of You.
Throw on just completely go next level. Just throw on some house music. Just do house music.
There you go.
Yeah.
I can do that.
Every Time We Touch by Cascade.
Oh,
I feel like Jimmy Butler would get into that. I feel like Jimmy Butler would get really
I would definitely see that. Yeah. There's a locker room song going around for the Astros, and there was one time where Altuve, he started playing Backstreet Boys. I Want It That Way, and everybody started singing.
Yeah, no, you gotta.
It was great.
There has to be some songs that get people like kind of together jamming and possibly belting out lyrics, and especially since
Mr. Brightside.
Especially since they're in the Garden, they need to make the people who are listening in like
karaoke song.
They need to make everyone uncomfortable.
Exactly.
Yeah. You know the Boston song?
Shipping up to
Boston. Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah.
I could see that.
It'd be very ironic if it played in the Miami Heat locker room. By the way, guys, if you're listening to this video, let us know your locker room song. Anyways, or Sweet Caroline. Fun fact: I'm not a big fan of that song.
It would be funny if they celebrated to shipping up to Boston in the away locker room. Not just because they are in Boston, but that song is vaguely associated with the Boston Bruins, who also play in the TD Garden.
I thought it was with The Departed, like the movie.
Probably, but the team they play shipping up to Boston as around Boston they play shipping up to Boston.
It's Boston. It's Boston. So like every team has it.
Play all of Boston. Just do it.
They play it everywhere. All of Boston.
Oh God.
What if on the flip end Boston just starts playing Pitbull? Like they win tonight. Mr.
305, Miami. I like it. That's cool.
Wide.
Yeah. They start playing hotel room service.
Oh damn.
Flo Rida.
Yeah. Can you blow my whistle, baby? Whistle, baby. This is why we do a podcast and we're not singers.
That's true.
Yeah.
I have a surprisingly good voice. You just wouldn't know. It's not
I'd like
great.
to hear it, but I wouldn't want to hear it right now.
Not here, no.
Yeah.
This isn't the right venue.
In a
Not
dark
the right
alley
venue.
somewhere.
We're not gonna lose our 20th subscriber if you sing, Rob. I'm just like
yeah. But guys, in the comments, if you want to hear me sing, please.
Can we move on? Let's move on.
Hold on, before we do, how many subs to get until Rob sings? How many subs until Rob sings?
50.
There we go.
50 subs,
Yeah.
and you get 3 minutes, Rob, to sing whatever song of your choice.
3 minutes? That's impressive.
3 minutes.
Your intro.
We will sit and just stare at you, Rob. We won't say a word.
Honestly, that's just going to encourage me. So
I feel like and I'm not sure there's a really hard limit on that 3 minutes either. So really
I will definitely make some hard cuts.
Really,
for sure.
really let your soul find what you need.
Let's move on. Let's talk about Nick Nurse. Actually, breaking news: Nick Nurse accepts the Philadelphia 76ers job as head coach. Congratulations, Sixers! This was a really good pick. Really good pick. Nick Nurse, 2019 NBA champion, as head coach for the Raptors in Toronto. Even without Kawhi, the Raptors were still a formidable team in the next couple of seasons.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe not this season because there were some injuries, and Freddie VanVleet wasn't playing very well. But the departure of Kawhi still made the Raptors a formidable playoff team for the next couple of seasons. Got to give that to Nurse and Pascal Siakam. Nick Nurse, really good coach. Definitely the candidate that Houston wanted. We got Ime, still really good, but Nick Nurse. I mean, Sixers should be proud.
Wait, when you say the candidate Houston wanted, was he offered the Rockets job?
There was some speculation offered. I think the Houston Rockets were selecting either Nick Nurse, Ime Udoka, Kenny Atkinson, or who else? There was another coach that they had like in their interview process. I believe Nick Nurse did interview. Correct me if I'm wrong. But it ended up going to Ime Udoka, which I'm still pretty okay with. But yeah, thoughts, guys, on Philadelphia securing the bag.
Take this because I could see in his body language he's got a stake in it, so I want to hear it.
Yeah,
no, I'm so defeated by this. Like it was a great signing. Like the Sixers can do nothing with their roster. Well, I think they should resign. Like if they resign James Harden, but like I don't think they need to make any.
He's going for the max,
and that's already a title contender. Like honestly, part of the problem was Doc Rivers. Like the 76ers roster is very talented. Like Zach put in, Nick Nurse went 227 and 163 with a championship. I think that just like championship experience is exactly what Philadelphia needs. And as long as he can keep Embiid happy, because there's been talks that he hasn't been, as long as he can keep Embiid happy and bring back Harden or some type of player like Harden, some type of playmaker, I think exactly Philly's where they want to be. I think Tyrese Maxey could even have a breakout season. It hurts. I mean, this is kind of what I feared, but I just saw like before we started this that pretty much what led to Nick Nurse taking the Sixers job over the Suns, because that's what the two he was debating between, was obviously the star in Joel Embiid and just wanting to coach him, and then his relationship with their GM Daryl Morey. So that was noteworthy in my opinion. So great job for the 76ers. I think Nick Nurse is going to be the type of candidate they were looking for. Yeah.
Brian, when you say keep Joel Embiid happy, how, aside from winning, how else would you keep him happy though? Like, you have to put a second star around him, and they're on the verge of losing James Harden. It's interesting to me that he chose the Sixers job over the Phoenix Suns, where the Suns kind of have everything in place. But I guess we're at a point where Joel Embiid is a bigger star in Philly than any player on the Suns at this point.
Yeah, so I was thinking that.
You think
too.
the MVP though, the MVP award? You think the MVP award actually kind of brought Nick Nurse more to this team?
I don't know, because the thing is like, obviously with Nick Nurse coaching the Raptors, he's very familiar with Embiid, and so he sees him more often. So I think that's kind of like they've probably had conversations before and stuff like that. Like, I mean, maybe the MVP did help, but I think another reason too is why he took the 76ers job as opposed to the Suns job is, like Zach said, their starting lineup is everything intact. One of the best starting lineups in basketball, but their bench is just awful. And like I think like. And we saw that in their playoffs, and like I want to plug myself. Like I hammered that in my end of season report. Well, the 76ers on the other end, they have some quality bench pieces, and I think that like relationship and like formalities are just like Nick Nurse knowing the culture of Philly and stuff like that. I really think he can thrive there. Not saying that he wouldn't thrive in Phoenix, but I think Philly is really the perfect spot for each other, both for Embiid and Philly and for Nick Nurse.
And to piggyback off that, Brian, too, if I'm Nick Nurse and I'm thinking about the Suns or the Sixers, right, I look at the Suns from a roster construction standpoint as well as the personalities that they have on that team. I don't know if I would want to try to coach Kevin Durant and Booker and Ayton with all the, what I would say, the drama that surrounds Ayton and he's already clashed with Monty Williams prior to his departure. I not sure I would want all of that having to contend with all those different factors there versus in Philly, you know, Harden might be leaving, who knows? It's hard to tell at this point, but I think, having such a tremendous centerpiece that, Embiid seems like he wants to win and they just can't quite put the right guys around him or the right, maybe not guys, but the right fit around him. And then they don't come up quite where they need to. And that's where they need Nurse's coaching ability, his championship experience. I think Nurse really made the right move here, and I think that he may have dodged a bullet by not going to the Suns, in my opinion.
I agree. I definitely agree with that. Considering that if they don't get Harden, who apparently wants the max, and I really hope Houston doesn't go for it, and they probably will. With Harden leaving, that leaves a lot of choices for Philadelphia to go around in terms of choosing their roster.
You guys think that with Nick Nurse being hired in Philly, that's it? James Harden's done in Philly?
No, I wouldn't say that. It's just that they have to make a lot of really hard decisions. Should they re-sign Harden? He will go for 4 years, $200 million. He wants the supermax contract. For Philly to be smart, maybe consider negotiating with Harden for a pay cut. If not, they have a ton of cap space to sign other players. And with Phoenix, you've got Durant's contract, you've got Chris Paul's contract, you've got Ayton's contract, you've got all those wasteful contracts. I mean, I wouldn't say Durant has a bad contract. Ayton for sure has one. I mean, Chris Paul is 38, 39 years old on that crazy deal too. So you've got already roster issues that are hard to change in Phoenix compared to Philadelphia.
Yeah.
So I think Nick Nurse picked the right team. I didn't expect it, actually. I didn't expect Philly to go with Nick Nurse after Doc Rivers. But that's a really good move, in my opinion. And
I honestly thought Nurse was going to end up with the Bucks. That was kind of my gut feeling.
They went in-house, though. I mean, it was. Yeah. I mean, with Giannis's recommendation on Griffin, I mean, it's a hit or miss. It could be really, really good. I mean, sometimes you promote in-house and they do really well. You know, Joe Mazzulla is a good example, even though the Celtics are already a good team. But I think Nick Nurse with the Sixers kind of helps them more than helps Nick Nurse. You kind of see what I mean here? Like, it helps the Sixers more than Nick Nurse, because Nick Nurse could go anywhere and the team could be good, right? True. But with Philadelphia, they need somebody who has championship experience, has won a ring recently, and has a good reputation with players in the NBA. You go with Nick Nurse, who's available. So here's a hot take, though. If they don't get Harden, consider Philadelphia to possibly, maybe, looking at Kyrie Irving.
I kind of had that thought too a little bit.
Let's look at it. Just kind of maybe look out the window, maybe like peer a little bit. Kyrie Irving is an unrestricted free agent. Now, the Mavericks are going to try to get Kyrie to re-sign. There actually is no intentions that the Mavs want to do a sign and trade. I've seen reports from that too. So they are looking to re-sign Kyrie, but hey, consider Philly to go after Kyrie, because Kyrie can definitely score. Well, facilitate. What's up?
I thought the Mavericks said they don't want to do a sign and trade for D'Angelo Russell. I think they were still open to one. That's what I thought it was.
No, they have. Okay. The Mavs have no interest in D'Angelo Russell for Kyrie Irving.
No.
According to Silver Screen and Roll.
But
yeah, so I think a sign and trade is still. I mean, I think they definitely want to re-sign Kyrie, but I think a sign and trade could still be possible. I just didn't think they want to do one for D'Lo.
Yeah, especially to a team in the East. Like just say, we don't have to face him.
I'll say this: if Kyrie Irving legitimately chooses to play for a team in Philadelphia, he is absolutely 100% betraying his North Jersey his North Jersey upbringing, and yeah. I have nothing. There's nothing. I was already, I had some issues with a lot of the things he said over the past couple of years, specifically in the fall. Jeremy, I feel like you and I kind of understand why.
Yeah.
But, if he actually betrays New Jersey by playing for a Philadelphia, it's over. It's over. Don't come back to the state. Go away.
Nothing to cling to.
There's nothing left. Just go.
All
That'd
right.
be
That being
interesting
said,
because he'd pretty
I
much play
do-
for every team. If he goes to Philly, he'd play for pretty much like every team in like the Northeast.
minus the
Philly,
Knicks,
minus the Knicks. Philly,
which is
Brooklyn,
hilarious.
Boston.
Yeah.
I do have a hard time seeing Kyrie Irving getting out of Dallas, so they're gonna throw the book at him in order to keep Luka Doncic around.
Yeah, but like, what team, in terms of improvements, are they going to make if they re-sign Kyrie Irving? Like, it's going to be difficult. I honestly feel like they might just be the same team, if not a little bit better.
If
But
they
that-
do throw the book at them, that it's actually an interesting point because throwing the book at Kyrie Irving will cripple them, without
Yeah.
a doubt, to a point where I don't know if
Yeah.
they'll be able to compete in that.
I
way.
wouldn't say they'll be the 11th seed. They're not going to be a top 5 seed, that's for sure.
No.
Maybe a seeds
Well,
5
plus
through 8.
they're,
But that's not what Luca wants, though. Luca wants to be a top
Christian
5
Wood's
seed.
going to be a free agent too, and that was one of those pieces that I felt like they could have utilized him better, and they didn't, and he's probably going to walk, and they're going to lose him for nothing.
He was a very underwhelming addition to the team.
I thought he was going to be better.
In some aspects, yes, but he also was not getting a lot of playing time. But
He should have started.
he should have started, and I know that the arguments from a lot of casual basketball fans was that the Mavericks were worse with him on the court defensively, but if you actually looked at his defensive rating in comparison to like Dwight Powell or McGee, they were all very similar. There wasn't much of a discrepancy there. So the fact that they weren't playing him for defensive reasons, but then they were limiting themselves offensively without him on the court really just I feel like Jason Kidd shouldn't have a job personally. I like Jason Kidd, in certain ways. I loved watching him play, but the fact that they managed to collapse like that down the stretch, they could have found some ways to make that work, and they just didn't.
I mean,
That
we
was
all
a
saw
shocking
it.
hire.
We all saw it, though. We all saw the collapse before it actually happened. I mean, we talked about it extensively early on, Cut the Nets during that season when he was traded. So it wasn't anything surprising that they fell down as hard as they did.
No.
By the way, Christian Wood had a defensive rating of 113.4 this season. JaVale McGee had one of 112.4 this season, and Dwight Powell had one of, please load, 116.3 this season.
So pretty much
right in the middle.
not
About-
great.
Not great, but JaVale McGee has never been known for his defense, and Christian Wood was doing about that out there. So
Yeah. Brian, do you want to talk about the new rules that they want to test in Summer League?
Yeah, so they were basically this takes offense to two players really, Trae Young and Marcus Smart, but they're talking about adding a flopping league or flopping rule in the Summer League. That's where they want to test it out. So basically, it would be kind of like college basketball, where if you get caught flopping, it's a technical.
That's going to change the whole landscape of the game when it comes to
It
defending.
will.
I'll enjoy it because it'll rat out the floppers. But
Yeah, but see,
how can you constitute an actual foul compared to a flopping foul?
yeah, see, that's where. Listen, I'm happy. I find flopping annoying. Like like basketball players nowadays are kind of becoming soccer players with all these pansy
Right.
flopping stuff.
Oscar winning.
That's true. But now it's where do you draw the line as to what's a flop as opposed to because some of them you can legitimately if you're trying to draw a charge or something you could be legitimately ran into, but if you flop or you take a couple steps back just from the impact and they call that and they think you're flopping when you actually here it goes again. It's back to the refs of human mistakes. How are you gonna determine what's
nice little comeback. Little turnaround.
Thank you. How are you gonna determine what's a charge or sorry, what's a flop and what's actual contact?
Yeah, there's a lot of ambiguity there, unfortunately.
I think the summer league is the perfect time to test it. I think if you want it to be legit, I think you should also be in the preseason. And I think it's kind of just going to be trial and error because obviously you can't make a new rule and expect it to be perfect and work. like you saw with like baseball with like the pitch clock and stuff, like you saw early on, like some people were having a hard time with it or getting caught with it. But I think at the end of the day, it's if they do it right, it's perfect for the game. Because also like those little like back, I don't know what like the technical term is called for it, but like I would see guys like Trey Young and like James Harden do it where they'll like get past the defender and the defender will be trailing behind them, but they'll purposely step back and then throw it up and either get like fouls or an and one out of it.
Pump fake for foul.
Trey Young was the king of that.
They would pump fake the ball, and then they would cause the defender to jump up too early, and then they would just like.
Oh
lean
yeah,
into
or
them.
that too, or just jump into them. So I think
I actually am cool with that because you juked out to the defender. You
that
played
I'm
him.
fine with.
Like
It's
I'm
the
fine
one-
with it. If that's a foul, that's a foul. Like that could be an and one, easy and one for the offensive player who can
that I'm fine with.
successfully do it.
Yeah, that I'm fine with. It just becomes like repetitive. Like I almost see it too much. But like what I really have the problem with is the one where like you beat your defender and they're trailing behind you and you can easily just have a layup or a floater or a jump shot, whatever you want. But they'll purposely step back and then just chuck it up because they know they got the foul call.
If the guy with the ball is in a fast break, he's dribbling to the basket, he's in front of the defender, and the defender is trailing behind him, but then the guy with the ball slows down, and ideally you'd say, okay, make a layup or dunk it, okay, easy shot, easy 2 points. The offensive player wants an and one, right? So he stops right in the paint and then pump fakes, and then the defender catches up to him, sees him pump faking, thinks he's going for the shot, but then tries to go for the attempted block, but then that's not what the offensive player is doing, right? He's just pump faking. So he draws contact as he's pump faking and then tries to release the ball and gets a foul.
It almost sounds
Possibly
like
an and one.
taunting. That almost sounds like taunting in football, where you're on an open path and you're clearly like about to score and you're like dancing or whatever, and then you're kind of just waiting for someone to come at you.
Is that flopping to you, Brian? Would that be considered flopping?
I wouldn't classify that as flopping because the defender is like legitimately trying to like make a play on the ball.
It sounds like in that scenario there's physical contact.
Yeah,
Like,
I
obviously
but
no physical
if
contact.
anything,
in
I
that,
think
but-
the offensive player is like just like kind of being like a dick. Like you take your clear, easy basket instead. You're kind of just waiting for the contact. It's like when
Yeah, but-
NBA players like will just like the game's over and they just want to dribble the clock out and then they go and get a basket. It's almost like just like disrespectful like that, like unwritten rules of basketball type stuff.
Yeah.
Jordan Bell ripped off that off the backboard dunk
that one was
against.
bad.
Yeah, that one was really bad.
Yeah, or
Yeah.
George Pappas with Monmouth against
Yeah,
Kansas.
to answer your question, Jeremy, I personally wouldn't constitute that as a flop. I just think it's bad basketball. I think it's just
But it's
you
within
know.
the merits of like playing. You're not gonna.
it's just like it's one of those as we alluded to here, there's unwritten rules where I'm just like,
Hey,
if you did that,
if you want an extra point, you're gonna do anything any way you can. You're not near the 3-point line. You have a chance to get an and one, and that's how you want to do it. Hey, fine by me.
yeah, I'm not a fan of it, but I get it from a strategic standpoint. I get it.
What about whenever the guy with the ball is at the 3-point line? He's doing like a shake and bake James Harden style dribble, and then he sees the defender's arm in front of him. He tries to draw the foul and just like flops like that, kind of like with the basketball.
That's how you go for 27.
Shut up. What do y'all think about that? Is that a flop?
I think that might be a flop. Yeah, I feel like
But he's drawing contact. Like
It's
the
not a
defender
natural
is making
shooting
him.
motion.
Yeah, but the defender's making the mistake by putting his hand in his face.
Mhm.
So
I mean, I feel like they're all gonna like put it in writing as it gets closer to the summer league, and they'll like have all these like definitions of like if you can't take like more than 3 steps back, or if you're gonna fall, it has to be like instantly. Like you can't jump. Like because there was the memes where like Marcus Smart would literally jump, and then there was this one play where LeBron wasn't even touched, and he got a foul, and he drew a foul call. So I'm sure like stuff like that. But like that's another thing too, is because like we see kind of like in the NBA, like you'd see at times like in regular season games, like star biasness. So I wonder if like, for example, if like a LeBron or an Embiid, I wonder if they'd get called for flop. Like obviously they won't be playing in the summer league; it's only for rookies and second-year players. But if this expands and becomes a regular season thing.
They should really go into the G League and just like narrow it down
Yeah.
for like maybe a couple of seasons.
Can
until
you
they make
imagine
it.
if a team like in the playoffs like loses like off that rule, like off a flop?
I mean, it would be nice. It'd be like a pitch clock violation.
Right.
You know, at a 3-2 count, pitch clock violation, bases loaded, bottom of the ninth, down by 1 or something.
Yeah.
I mean,
like
it's not a
Knicks
great
were-
ending, but I feel like most of these guys, they know what they're doing. You know, when they're doing that. So if we get to the point in the NBA where they are actually enforcing that, I I I hope that they're going to actually go after stars and not directly like that's the objective to go after them, but like actually call those on stars because I've been sick of seeing that for the past 10 years, where you've just got no contact flops where refs are calling it, and it's just ridiculous. I mean, it's terrible to watch. I don't think most fans want to see any of that, and um, I just think it's just not fun basketball to watch at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Rob just wants 80s basketball back with Davis Bertans just clobbering people anytime they come in the paint.
I wish these guys were a little bit more feisty with each other. Maybe not like Bill Laimbeer style like basketball, but I definitely would like to see it a little bit more just fiery, because I think sometimes these guys are a little too friendly with each other.
I
Depends
think
on who it is.
the 2000s like style of basketball is probably peak basketball.
Yeah.
Like you had a balance of everything. You had threes not being
Which
shot every
part of
single
the 2000s?
I would say 2004 to like 2009.
Okay, 2004, there was a playoff game between the Rockets and the Lakers at a final score of 72-71.
Okay,
That's
sometimes
great.
it happens.
It was a
Sometimes
slow-
it happens.
It was a slow,
Sometimes it
grinding,
happens.
boring.
How did you pull that game right out of your ass?
Because
Yeah.
I remember. Don't ask me. I have no idea. I have no idea. But Shaq won that game on a putback dunk. I think Yao Ming was also involved. Because
Okay, how
Oh,
about
I
the
remember
2000,
that,
the
actually.
2004, 2005 to 2009 to 2010? We can ignore the last year of Shaq. Okay, on the Lakers.
Well, yeah.
Because you could see a lot of mid-range shots. You could see a lot of more ISO play, but it wasn't to the point where it got annoying. And it like when I think of great basketball, I think of like the 09 Magic, because you had pretty much three-point shooters all around Dwight, and you had Dwight in the paint in his prime. Pretty much a very sort of accurate look of what an NBA team looks like today, but it wasn't excessive.
Mhm.
I think that's like a really good team to watch.
Good
Like,
ball movement.
the 09 Magic, even though they didn't win and they're not like one of the more regarded teams in the NBA. But I whenever I saw them play, I was like, this team's really fun to watch. Really
They
fun. And
were.
also, I would also say the 2014 Spurs.
Oh, I loved watching them.
Yeah, 2014 Spurs were unselfish.
They were a machine.
They were.
Everyone touches the ball. It's the best brand of
It
basketball
is.
to play.
I agree.
But it doesn't
Wholeheartedly.
always end up in a 3 or like a step back 3 all the time.
Right. It's cuts. They're just moving the ball around, getting
Yeah.
the best high percent shot.
You
possible.
don't expect who gets the ball into the basket. You don't know who. Maybe because of the usage rate of like who's the best player on the team, but sometimes you got to juke the opponent's team out. You got to fool them several times, and that's what
Yeah,
the
the
Spurs were able
Boris
to do.
Diaw legacy game.
I think we should close out one final topic. So, getting back to the Heat and Celtics, if the Heat win, how would the Nuggets rather prefer them, or if the Celtics win, would the Nuggets rather prefer them in terms of matchups?
That's a good question.
I honestly, I think Celtics.
I'm not sure.
In terms of like who the Nuggets would play better against, or
Well,
what would be more of a challenge against the Nuggets?
I think the Nuggets would match up better against the Celtics, just because I think with the way the Celtics and the way Joe Mazzulla currently runs that Celtics team, you have obviously Tatum and Brown are superstars, but Michael Porter Jr. and Aaron Gordon have been playing like enough quality basketball. Not that I'm saying that they'd be able to match them, but they can do enough. And I think even them defensively would be pretty good. And then Nikola Jokic will have a much easier time doing whatever he wants against an Al Horford or a Grant Williams. And then every now and again, if Missoula's smart, Rob Williams, as opposed to a Bam Adebayo. And then they're saying that Tyler Hero is going to start practicing soon. So if they win,
If the Heat win.
if the Heat win anywhere between game 2 and 4, Hero to be in, and that's a huge like catch and shoot, like poor man's Klay Thompson, minus the defense.
Yeah, I was about to say.
So in the
Minus
regular
the defense.
season, the Nuggets were 1-1 against the Celtics. The Celtics won by 19 points in November, and then the Nuggets won on New Year's Day by 12 points. Against the Heat, the Nuggets won both games. One game in December, one game in February, but it was a 5-point victory in December and a 4-point victory in February.
The Heat
Yeah.
didn't catch fire until like March.
Exactly. So it's
So,
a different Heat team that they
Yeah,
play.
and Jeremy, it's like you said, I believe in episode 2 ago, the Heat have no business being this far and going this far. Like there was there was a debate
they're,
that I just saw today on SportsCenter that talking about what legacy is more impactful, Boston winning, like could be coming back from down 3-0, or Miami winning. And the obvious answer should be Boston winning because no team in basketball has ever come back from a 3-0.
Right.
But I think there's a legitimate debate because if Miami wins and like goes to the finals, and even if they win the finals, they could make the serious case for being the greatest 8 seed of all time. And you can even make the case once again if the Heat win that their run impressive than the 2011 Mavericks run.
Oh yeah, definitely for sure. I mean, also
The Heat would
as
be-
promised before, if the Heat win the finals, Jimmy Butler takes a DNA test. That's what we all want.
Yes.
What are we
Michael
talking
Jordan's
about? Boss, the Denver Nuggets should be absolutely hoping that the Miami Heat win this game. Are you seriously telling me that you want to play a team that just completed the best comeback in NBA playoff history? You have to be out of your goddamn
Yeah,
mind.
but
Yes.
like on paper, yes, the
You have to
Celtics
be
have a
out of
better
your
chance
mind.
of beating the Nuggets than the
Here's
Heat. The Heat
the
have no
reason
chance
why,
on
Zach.
paper.
Here's the reason why.
And-
Okay. They just battled a 7-game series, have to put all that energy, all that effort into coming back. And now they're going to have to go against the best team in the NBA who's going to pick them apart.
Right,
They're going
but
to
that's
have
why
no
you want.
mercy.
But that's why you want the Heat to be in that spot because they have just been demoralized. They lost 3 games in a row. Their psyche is ideally shattered. Jimmy's probably not, but
Absolutely.
then they take Game 7 and they're tired, beat up, just like
I
you
don't
said.
disagree with either
Also,
premise.
Wait,
Malcolm
actually-
Brogdon is also clear to play tonight.
Yeah, Malcolm Brogdon's clear to play tonight, so he'll be
Mm.
available. Actually, I got a question because this actually might impact my answer.
Oh, wait,
So,
don't leave that though. That's a serious thing. Like that's very very low key good for the Celtics.
It is,
oh, it
Okay,
is
good. That's
high
incredibly
key
good.
good.
That's a key part of their bench.
Brogdon's
especially for the
yeah.
shooting.
Yeah.
Well, I was just
But
addressing back to the point that we were talking about before. So, like, how does it work? So, like, the Nuggets, they were the 1 seed in the West, obviously, and they went 53-29. But the Celtics were the 2nd seed. They were 57-25. So, does it go for like home court advantage? Does it go by seeding or record? Like, if Boston wins, would the first 2 games be at the Garden? They had the better record, or would the first 2 games be in Denver because
I
They were
don't
the
know
ones
the
that-
answer to
Might
that
be
question.
seeding.
It might be that's not fair then.
Take a look. I'm pretty sure it's.
I'd
by
imagine
record.
it's by record. So then that's interesting.
Yeah.
Because Denver also in the regular season wasn't great on the road, and
They were not.
Boston was very great. At home.
Zach, on the Heat and Nuggets games, did everybody play, or did either coach sit one of their players out? You can come back to me on that one. But
I am looking now. I've got the in the game in February. Bam, Jimmy, they all played, but Kevin Love was not a part of this team. Max Strus played 42 minutes here. Gabe Vincent played 34. Duncan Robinson did not play. Tyler Hero did not play for the Heat in the February game. Nuggets, I do not see Jamal Murray active on this list.
So again, like I wouldn't really count those. I mean, even though the Nuggets won by 4, right? It was a close game rather. So they weren't all.
I don't think
playing.
those games are
all
really
the key players weren't all
It's a regular
playing,
season game at that, so you have to
yeah,
take
it wasn't
that into
really.
account.
I don't think it's very indicative of what's really going to happen with everyone who's going to play in the next round.
To me, it's hard to, for me at least personally, it's hard to define between both teams which has the more unfavorable matchup against the Nuggets, because both of them have some things that I think lend unfavorably towards that. You look at the way that the Nuggets are constructed. They have basically Aaron Gordon playing a lot of help defense with Jokic, and Jokic is such a big body. He's bigger than anyone that really the Heat or the Celtics can throw it. I mean, Robert Williams is decent sized, but the length and strength of Jokic, as well as Aaron Gordon kind of being there as a help defender, and then having Bruce Brown, having KCP, and that and Michael Porter Michael Porter Jr. has improved as a defender too with his length and speed. So I think it's hard for me to kind of say like one way or the other, Heat or Celtics, which who the Nuggets would rather face. I just don't think the Nuggets are really scared of either one of those teams. I think the Nuggets are just gonna. I think it might be a 5-game series at most. I do not think that the Celtics or Heat are going to win 2 games against the Nuggets. I just don't think they have it.
Let me also point out this: you had the Timberwolves, you had the Suns, who were mid-range kings, and the Lakers, who were mostly good inside. Did not shoot the 3 very well at all with their opponents. The Celtics and Heat, on the other hand, shoot the 3 ball very, very well. And the Nuggets swept the Lakers. So they're very good with inside-based teams. Will they be good with teams that live and die by the 3? Is there a case to be made there?
I think to some extent, yeah. I don't disagree with that. I think, but the Nuggets have great perimeter defenders in KCP and in Bruce Brown, as well as
even Christian Brown.
Christian Brown, yeah, I was going to say Christian Brown is good. So I think they're not going to get caught sleeping too much in terms of those 3-point attempts that I know the Celtics and Heat are going to want to take. So I think the Celtics or the Nuggets may adjust their game plan and try to force them to beat them inside, which will only, again, lend towards what the Nuggets want to do anyways, because I think Jokic in this postseason and this year has improved quite a bit defensively, and I do not see Aaron Gordon faltering there either. So I definitely I can see maybe a game where feasibly the Celtics or the Heat really kind of pull the wool over the Nuggets' eyes and just light it up one night, but I think the Nuggets are going to figure that out relatively quickly and not have many issues with them.
I think the Celtics have a better chance of making a case for the Nuggets when it comes to the finals. They've been to the finals before last season, back-to-back finals appearances. The Nuggets haven't been to the finals before. This is the first time in NBA franchise history that they've been to the finals.
True.
I'm not saying it's going to hamper their performance as first-timers, but this is the longest they've been as a franchise team ever. So, I mean, that also can bring out some rusty performances. Also, given that they haven't been on a court since they swept the Lakers. When was it, last week?
True.
So,
yeah.
There's going to be some rustiness. I'll say with the Nuggets early on. Will they catch fire and probably win the series? Most likely. But hey, it's the first time. It's not the Heat's first time. They've been in the finals. Last time was in the bubble.
True.
It's not the Celtics' first time. They were there last year. Took the Warriors to 6 games.
Yeah, I mean, Jeremy, you brought up a good point because I think with the talking about how both the Heat and the Celtics are more 3-heavy than teams the Nuggets are going to play. That's why I kind of disagree with Rob's prediction of it going in 5 at the most. I could see this going 6 or 7, but I think no matter who they play, Celtics or Heat, I think that there's going to be one game, and I think it's only one, where it's probably going to be like game 1 or 2, like early on in the series, where it's going to be like the Nuggets like oh shit moment, because I think of multiple reasons. One, the rust, like you said, Jeremy, haven't played in a week. 2, not knowing how to figure out those teams because obviously different side of the country, you only see them 1 or 2 times a year, and like Zach mentioned, you're playing different teams because in the Heat's case, they didn't get hot yet and had some injuries. In the Celtics case, like Jamal Murray was out, and like other stuff like that. So you're playing completely different team either way that you don't really know how to play up against. You didn't get that. You didn't play a team like the Celtics or the Heat in the playoffs because they're more 3-heavy. So I think there's going to be one game where the Nuggets just get like blown out and then be like, oh shit, like that's what we got to do against them. And because I still think the Nuggets, no matter who they play, should win the finals. I think they just had too much star power, and Jokic has just been too much of a force that they don't win. But I think there's definitely one game where they have their like oh shit moment, like we need to wake up, or we now know what we need to do. So Jason Tatum, it's interesting to note he has the most career game 7s under the age of 25 with 7.
Oh,
So,
dude, he has such a large microscope on his career, like, and he's not even scratched the surface yet when it comes to his prime and his ability to be one of the best players in the game. And he's been in the playoffs every single season since his rookie year. And his rookie year, he took the Celtics to the Eastern Conference Finals. So he's been under a large microscope. And it's funny because the greatest players in the NBA, they didn't really start winning rings. You don't have to. I mean, I guess you can sort of not count Magic Johnson because he won his first ring as a rookie. Yeah. But Michael Jordan didn't win his first ring until he was like 28.
Yeah. 27, 28 is usually the age.
Didn't win his first ring until he was 29.
Yeah, but it's like weird with Tatum though, because he always has like a unique path to get where he gets. I mean, like look at this year, like he's had a new coach out of like the weirdness of how the transition from Udoka to Missoula went. And like even now, like it seems like he always, for when he gets to the brightest spot, like the biggest game of his career, I feel like he doesn't give himself enough credit. Like he always has to look for outside inspiration. Like last year, it was bringing up how like he's like the new, like his like Mamba moment, and he had like Kobe written on his sneakers and stuff. And now it's like with the Kevin Garnett jacket. Like I feel like he's always, and then I think he even did something with like Paul Pierce or whatever. So like
it seems to work though. Like if he brings up past influences,
well, not last year when they lost. In the finals.
It seems to well, in this case, yes, for this year. Whenever he doesn't do that, he doesn't really perform well, or perform well in the clutch.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't knocking it. I'm just saying it's like unique because like I've never really seen like a star elite player that someone as accomplished as Tatum is kind of like look for that much like inspiration. Like you never saw LeBron like walking in like Quicken Loans Arena with like Zydrunas Ilgauskas stuff, like looking for inspiration.
No one does that, bro. No. Hey, not his second best player. Not his second best. Okay, that was funny, but it was dumb too. Like you see Zach shaking his head.
I'm just not even touching that. You
knew that was stupid what you said before you said it. You knew.
I love Big Z though.
Big Z's all right. He's all right.
But no, like I mean,
hey, don't forget Wally Zerbiak too. Don't forget him either.
Wally Z.
Goated Knicks announcer.
Oh my god.
But no, in all seriousness though, you don't see like star players like going like that much like out, like every now and again you'll see like Daniel Jones like texted Eli Manning before a playoff game. Like that I don't have a problem with. But I feel like Tatum doesn't even like talk to these people, which I think he should do if he wants to do something like that. Like he just like wears their stuff or like almost wants to hide in their shoes and like live their moment for what they did. Like
Right. Well, he's not like
maybe he's superstitious.
drawing inspiration from himself and his own drive. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
get what
That's
you're saying.
that's yeah.
Yeah.
That's a better way of phrasing what I was getting at.
I had just had a thought of a really dark joke. I don't know if I should say it.
Do it.
Oh
But
no.
What Jason Tatum should just do, he should just give Kobe Bryant a call. Just text him.
Oh, dude. Oh,
Just
no.
text him.
Oh, that is dark. I didn't think
That's
it was gonna
dark.
get that dark.
I said dark joke. Just
boy.
text Mr. Mamba.
Oh man.
I don't know what's gonna go. It's not gonna go through though. He did that.
Tatum texted Kobe. Let me find out when he did it. Hold on.
Well, if he did, then it's not dark.
It's dark.
Like,
No, I'm sure.
It's good enough to put on the pod. I wasn't gonna edit it out, but it's good enough now. If
I'm
he
sure
actually
there are
did it.
players
Shadow
who
realm.
legitimately send text messages to
Dead players.
dead players. Dead
He
family
said he
members,
knew.
things like that. It's
so
not an uncommon thing for
It
people to do.
was it
up?
was before Game 7 of the conference finals against the Heat last year. He
Okay.
he
Hey,
texted
it might work.
at 4:19. Tatum sent a text. He knew he wouldn't get a response. He texted Kobe. He said, "I got you today," and he shared a screenshot of it, playing with a purple
Hey,
and yellow number
then-
24 armband. Tatum scored
Then I'm not
26
cutting
points
it.
and
This
grabbed
is
10
actually
rebounds to win the
It's-
inaugural Larry
it's staying
Bird
in.
trophy for the MVP.
It had dark intent though.
Had
So
dark
it's-
intent.
And he
So
said
it's
he watched
either-
Kobe Bryant highlights before the game.
So it's either that was his secret weapon, or the secret weapon for the Boston Celtics was Nick Stauskas, who was on the roster for that team. So it's one or the other. They don't have Nick Stauskas. So if they win, it was that. If they lose, they needed Nick Stauskas. I think we can agree on that.
I agree.
Yeah,
What
my
about-
logic is
What about Nick Collison?
It's sound.
Nick Collison, Thunder legend. Shout out.
Yeah. What about Shaq as a Celtic?
I feel like everyone wants to forget that kind of happened.
The Celtics and Sun years of Shaq's career, I try to just suppress those memories.
It was so
That was,
weird.
he just
seeing
played for the
Boston
Celtics
colors.
so he
I'm
can
sorry.
complete the Fruity Pebble rainbow of jerseys of teams he's played
It's
for.
true. I think
That's
you're right,
true.
there, Brian.
That's true. Well, he did try and play and see if I can get another 5th ring, but couldn't do it.
No.
Shaq on Boston is like Hakeem on the.
You know what's funny?
Raptors.
Shaq looked a lot older as a Celtic than he did in his like 2nd or 3rd year on Inside the NBA.
Oh, 100%.
I
But by
agree.
that point in
He was
time,
worn down.
you have
Like,
to remember.
he
You have
looked
to
a
remember.
lot older.
Shaq didn't get the gold bond endorsement until after his
secret.
NBA career.
The secret elixir.
Yeah. I mean, now he looks. He's 50 now, so now who looks a lot younger is Charles Barkley. He looks a lot younger. It's because of his weight. He's lost. Props to that.
Unrelated, I am very much looking forward to Charles Barkley covering San Antonio Spurs games next year.
Me too.
Jeremy definitely.
Oh,
He's ready.
it's the Wemby show, dude. Oh, I'm so excited. San Antonio's coming back.
Between him pronouncing Wembanyama's name and his just beef with San Antonio in general, it's going to be great.
What's the beef, with San Antonio? What's his beef, Zach?
Oh,
What's
here
his
we
beef?
Emphasis on beef.
Yeah, what's his beef? Like
I'm not doing this.
we
I'm not
need to
touching
know.
This isn't my thing. This is.
We want to know. What's the beef? We
I'm,
don't know if there's beef. Is there beef?
Hold on.
Zach.
Hold on.
What are you
Zach,
trying
you
to say,
did this
Rob?
to yourself.
I'm just going to show you. I don't even.
Okay, let's end this podcast here as we show what the beef is. Charles Barkley has
Or
with
should
San
we say-
Antonio. A brief history of Charles Barkley making fun of San Antonio women. Awful announcing. There's a
So-
site called that. Awful announcing.
Oh yeah, awful
you're
announcing
really
is
funny on Twitter.
fantastic. More importantly, this is the key thing. Right there.
got no skinny women down there.
Exactly. Big old women down in San Antonio.
Big old women down in San Antonio.
Victoria's a secret down in San Antonio.
He's
He got
just-
some big old
just-
fat woman.
That's a gold mine for Weight Watchers.
Watchers.
Did you see his last joke about San Antonio? So whenever the Spurs, Inside the NBA did a recap of the Spurs and Pacers in like one of their second or first to last games of the regular season this year, and Shaq goes, "Listen, I think Victor Wembanyama would be great in San Antonio," and then like There was a pause.
Yeah.
Then Ernie Johnson was like, Buddy Hield 18 points. Everyone was trying to like ignore it.
I want to see a picture and like a horribly photoshopped picture of like Victor Wembanyama having his arms around like two thick Latina women. I would die.
By the way, how's my Charles impression? Is it all right?
It's not bad.
Great, awesome. I watch too much inside the NBA. I watch way too much.
There's no such thing as too much inside the NBA. It's a shame that there is a finite amount of inside the NBA.
There's so many. There's so many. I wouldn't say finite. There's an infinite amount, dude. There's so many.
Well, we're on the border there, but
yeah. They have 10 more years too. Like
God
10
bless.
More years together. It's great.
God
They'll be in their 80s when they stop.
Nice.
I don't think
All right.
Barkley's allowed to retire from media.
No, I don't think so either.
You can't.
By the way, guys, yeah, Rob
major.
Korensky he's gonna start a podcast called The Gopher Patrol.
Oh yeah.
It's TBA, but stay tuned for that.
Oh yeah, it's coming.
All right. Any other shout outs you want to do? I just shout out to Rob, so
Shout out Wrinkles in the Crease as always.
Wrinkles in the Crease.
But it's our hockey podcast. We got an episode coming out tomorrow. I've been working on that. We're about to finalize hopefully a steady day for recording. We've been adjusting to changing schedules, but we're looking forward to the Stanley Cup Finals. Game 6 is tonight, so
That's gonna
good
be
time
wild.
between Game 6 and Game 7. It's a good sports night. It's a great way to end Memorial Day.
I'm hoping the Stars
Oh, yeah.
flip for Game 7. I
We'll
want
see.
it.
We'll see. I
All
don't
right.
know. There's a lot of similarities between the two. I'm just saying.
Mhm.
A lot of
That's true.
both teams went up 3-0. Not so much anymore.
No. Well, with that being said, this is the end of Cut the Nets episode 24. If you enjoyed it, please give us a like and subscribe, and take a look at all of our other podcast episodes that we talk. We talk about exclusively the NBA, occasionally baseball, and occasionally hockey, and also occasionally just dumb fucking shit. Brian, my co-host, Rob, and Zach, thanks for joining in. This is Cut the Nets signing out. We will be going into our grid game now.